We're going to talk about some of the nitty-gritty of increasing trade and investment in Nigeria. Dawud Lawal, perhaps if I could turn to you first. One of the obviously key challenges in Nigeria at the moment, investment in infrastructure and other things that can help promote trade. How do you see the finance for this, the availability of finance? Is the Nigerian financial system able to do it? And what's the role of international banks as well?
Thank you very much. Well, you'll agree with me that in Nigeria today, the banking sector is very, very strong. And this is due to the reform by the regulatory authority, the central bank. The capital adequacy ratio of the banks now is very, very high, meaning that we have the ability to now facilitate as well as provide support for any investor that intends to come to Nigeria. Now, what we are trying to do also is to look at the role of public-private partnership. And this is key in terms of providing support for investment into the country. For example, looking at the power sector, it's a sector that requires capital, high capital. And without the banking sector, it would be very, very difficult for government to achieve what really they want to do in the power sector. Not only that, look at railway, look at road transportation. Now, it will be easier if you have the participation of banks in terms of providing roads from within Nigeria to other African countries to facilitate trade and development. So if we look at really the role of financial institution today, it plays a significant role in the area of integration.
And when the financial sector is providing finance, is this all? Can it all be done by local bank loans, or do you need structured products? Do you need capital markets to play a role? How is that developing?
Well, for now, looking at the banking sector in Nigeria, yes, we have the capacity to do it alone. Mm-hmm. Because
to do it alone?
Yeah, because what we do is try to facilitate some of this relationship from within the banking sector as a collective responsibility. And for example, if you look at Africa today, basically in the banking sector, outside South Africa, Nigeria is the key player in the banking sector in Africa today. So we have that capacity to do that.
So you have the capacity.
However, there's also room for financial institutions to come in if need be.
But this financing that's needed can be provided in the form of bank loans, or is there a need for capital markets to take a role as well?
Well, for now, what we're looking at is actually in the area of providing banking loan, before looking at other capital markets, because we need to be very solid there before we start thinking of looking from outside the country. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So, Paul O'Hay, turning to you, in the non-oil economy, obviously, you're involved in development of agriculture, the food safety, drug safety, and so on. How do you see the development of infrastructure in it affects the businesses that you look at, and how satisfied are the people that you talk to that they're able to get their goods around the place?
Well, first and foremost, let me commend the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment for zealously driving the trade facilitation as a key component of the transformation agenda of this administration. I want to commend the Nigerian Customs Service for this very visionary initiative of organizing this forum and the Financial Times. I regulate, with NAFDAC, we regulate an industry, all the products that we regulate form more than 1/3 of Nigeria's economy. Oh. If you listen to the presentation from the Dangote Group, most of their products, sugar, rice, salt, flour, all these are regulated by NAFDAC. So depending on how we regulate the industry, we can boost trade or we can kill trade. If we are too relaxed, there will be influx of fake and substandard products that genuine investors may not be interested in investing in Nigeria anymore. And if we are too stringent and we make registration too difficult, most investors will not want to come. In all this, the infrastructure is very, very important. But most of the people we regulate are happy because The challenges, as you heard the Dangote Group present, the challenges are sometimes also opportunities for investment. So the difficulties with infrastructure does not stop genuine investors from coming to invest in Nigeria. You heard how many trade delegations have come to Nigeria within the past 5 weeks. So the opportunities are there, and it's not a big deal.
When these delegations come, what are their concerns? Obviously, infrastructure will be one of them. We've had reports in the Financial Times that people are delaying investments because of fears over security situation in the country. At the moment now, is it a time when people are pushing ahead, or are they still weighing things up?
When people are pushing ahead, we have seen significant improvement. Even industries are coming up. As we speak, the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria has become a major key player. We have pharmaceutical companies locally manufacturing in Nigeria that have come up and even got WHO certification of their facilities. We have one already for the first time in sub-Saharan West Africa, obtained WHO certification, and about 4 more about to be certified. So people are moving on despite the security challenges.
Kofi, I'll turn to you. For Ghana in the region, what role does Nigeria play? Is Nigeria a promoter of trade? Is Nigeria a facilitator? Or your president was critical of Nigeria's role in not pushing ahead on local integration. What needs to be done to make that work?
Thank you for the opportunity. And I also want to take the floor to congratulate the Nigerian Customs for the celebration of their 100 years and with the support of Financial Times. Yes, like the minister rightly said, Nigeria is well positioned to push the whole of Africa to attain economic emancipation. If you look at the role of Nigeria, there's no doubt they have the population, they have the big financial institutions who are now doing well, like he said, in most of the African countries. In Ghana, most of the financial institutions that are doing well are from Nigeria. And if you look at the role that Nigeria is supposed to play, I always tell people, sometimes my Ghanaian friends will tell me, you sound like a Nigerian. I say yes, because I did my first degree in Nigeria. The fact is, from where I'm coming from, I want Nigeria to push them all. Like you said, Nigeria, in fact, we have taken a long time for Nigeria to get to where they have to be. We always see in Ghana, we always see Nigeria as United States of Africa. Once Nigeria moves, all of us move along. Once Nigeria retires, it affects every aspect of our economy. So like the minister said, if the industrial revolution that has been well established and which is going to be rolled out is well followed up, all other African countries are going to also copy from what Nigerians are doing. In fact, anytime you hear the Bank of Nigeria is doing something, within the next 3 or 6 months, give them almost 6 months, Ghana Central Bank will be doing the same thing. And it goes on and that. So we need that spirit of collaboration, that spirit of facilitating role. And above all, when it comes to trade integration, my only beef with Nigeria is that sometimes, like the minister said, the customs officials and other people, instead of being trade facilitators, they tend to be more revenue generation. And that is where it has been killing the initiative of the ECOWAS region.
Killing the initiative of the ECOWAS region, is it?
Yes, because if, like I said, I want to be, like I told you, if Nigeria takes the position that we want to all Africans to move, we all move with Nigeria. Like my president said the last time that you were quoting from, he said, why should Nigeria be afraid of integration? Because Nigeria has everything to gain from integration. They have the biggest market, they have the high level of financial institutions that can push for all the financial takeovers and mergers and acquisitions. Nigeria has the highest middle class. And like the minister said, any country or any continent that is not doing trade and doing the trade in a proper way, we stand to lose. And we are starting to lose because our big brothers are not doing what they're supposed to do, and it has taken them too much a long time.
Your trade with Nigeria, just looking at some figures this morning, is in 2010, the figures I was seeing, your Ghanaian trade to Nigeria is worth 0.48% of Ghanaian GDP, and trade coming in the other direction is even smaller, 0.32% of Ghanaian GDP in 2010. So even if things are growing quickly, they're growing from a very, very small base. I mean, do you see so there's room for a massive increase. I mean, do you see that things are moving to make that happen?
It is. The minister rightly said, between Ghana, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria, most of the trade that is going on is informal.
Right.
And this is, it is more than 80%. And what the ECOWAS region is trying to do is to formalize the informal trade that is going on. The second thing, with the customs common union that we are thinking and we are pushing to take off in January 2015, we are hoping that it will also speed up the trade. We are also having the ETLS, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, that is currently going on. But the fact is, we need to double up. I always shudder in my spirit that if we don't do this very soon, our people are not going to forgive us, because we have reached a time of development that people are seeing it everywhere, that we have whatever it takes to develop. But because sometimes, I'm also from the civil service, sometimes the bureaucratic attitude. I visited Dubai. We were having a business conference, and I went to the Dubai airport, one of the biggest in the whole world. And I was going to clear goods from the port. I just stood at a place. Within 5 minutes, I finished clearing the goods. 5 minutes. Then I asked myself, hey, Ghana Customs, Nigeria Customs, we can also do this in West Africa. It will also speed up our integration process, and people will use our African region to also serve the rest of the world, because we are well positioned. Flights to and from Africa is the shortest to the European countries. So why is it that people cannot come and use our African region to re-export rather than to go to Dubai and other countries?
There's been a lot of expectation that ECOWAS will reach an agreement with the European Union, for example. Do you think that's at the top of the priorities list, or should it be concentrating more on what's going on in Western Africa first?
About our EPA?
About an agreement with the European Union.
The European Union, I was expecting the minister to touch on it, because that has been a bone of contention. Right now that I'm speaking, I know our head of state have given the go-ahead that we should look at some of the few naughty areas and to make sure that it is concluded before the October comes into effect. In the same vein, we are also looking at Nigeria. You know, the West Africa market is such that when you are looking at our relationship with Europe, you have to consider the whole thing in a perspective. Of the 15 countries, let me say 12 are least developed countries, LDCs. With or without EPAS, they still have duty-free, quota-free access to the European market. The only 3 countries that are expected who are bound by the EPAS are Ghana, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. Nigeria has signed, Ghana has signaled, Nigeria has not signed. The effect is that by October of this year, what is going to happen is that if we do not come to a conclusion in any form, we are going to lose. And the fear of the government of Ghana is that since most of our value-added products are in the European market, we stand to lose. Nigeria is better off when you look at the trends, because right now Nigeria can do without the EU market, because they have other forms of, most of their exports to the EU, if you look at it critically, it's not anything to write home about. It's when you come to the Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, that is where we are suffering. But we are looking at our big brother to pushing us, and with the big voice, to also get the Europeans to understand why. One, the bone of contention is of the rules of origin. We are also talking about the EBDF funding, that there's going to be a fund that is going to cushion the distortions that will come to the West African region when we enter into the EPAS. So these are some of the things that we want our bigger brother to push us, because they have what it takes to bring us together with the Europeans.
Okay, I'm going to open for some questions from the floor in just a minute. But just so please have some succinct to the point questions ready. But just before we do, Paula, here, would you like to respond to that? Can Nigeria do without the European Union? Is it happy with its own market and the regional market?
Well, I don't think that any country can do without a big bloc, economic bloc, the European Union. It is in our interest to work with all other international groups, like economic blocs, to be able to be successful. Apart from that, I want to also clear something. The Nigerian customs has significantly reformed since 2009. Right now, they provide easy clearance of goods. In fact, NAFDAC has been able to key into that their system, the single window system that allows pre-import assessment. So we are able to, within 24 hours sometimes, clear goods. It's no longer, maybe you have not visited recently, you need to visit Nigeria and see what the customs have done. But have really transformed the clearance system and facilitated trade in that regards.
We have a question over here. Please, can you say who you are and a short question?
Good morning. My name is Shabir Razvi from International Finance Solutions Associates in London. The question I have is obviously, which has been touched by the panelist and also by the minister, is the issue of security, especially with what's been going on with Boko Haram and also in the Middle East. Trade obviously is one of the key factors for all investors and business people. However, as soon as the security problems arise, a lot of business people shy away from it. How are the Nigerian authorities, or perhaps I don't know the panelists are in a position to answer this, is how closely are they working with Saudi Arabia and others who are actually funding these terrorist activities globally to curtail the problems that's being created in Nigeria and other places?
Who feels qualified to answer? Dawda Lawal, can you? Perhaps you can't speak for the government, but can you speak for the private sector and the concerns with
Well, I can't speak for government, but from the private sector angle, like my colleague rightly mentioned, the area of informal trade. What we do now is just try to make it formal. Now, how do we do that? We do that by bringing or introducing the issue of a letter of credit. Rather than dealing with individuals that you don't know and you're not sure of your security of your investment, you are now dealing with a financial institution that guarantees whatever happens, you are covered, and you also have insurance issues. I can't speak on security, honestly. Perhaps maybe the Honorable Minister will be able to answer that on behalf of the government.
Well, but security, I mean, it is an issue when knowing who you're talking to is obviously a security issue as well.
Exactly.
When you're going into parts of the country that are in difficulties, people have to have contracts, people have to have deliveries and so on. Surely there's some bearing on that in terms of actually doing business there.
Well, let me tell you what we're doing from the private sector or from the financial institution. Of recent, there has been expansion of the banking industry beyond Nigeria. We are currently present in so many African countries. Now, by doing that, we're also able to identify the kind of businesses in those countries and now try to encourage those people to say that, look, you know, as in Nigeria, we are ready to do business. Not only just doing business, we are also ready to provide some of those funding gaps, and we can identify such individuals that you can go home and sleep and your investment is fully secure.
Okay, Paula, from NAFDAC's point of view, how does the security issue?
Well, Nigeria is working very closely with any country that is willing to offer us some helpful solutions to solve some of the security challenges that we have. You must have heard so many countries offered the assistance, and we have accepted it. But we do not limit who can help us to solve our security problems. As long as you are willing to genuinely help us, we'll work with any country that is willing and has the capacity to help us solve security challenges. From that point of view, the security challenges have not deterred investors. Like I say, the industry, in our industry where I regulate, is growing very at a geometric progression.
Anyone else from the floor? Yes, we have a question here in the center.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name's Julius Ndubisi Nwagu. Until November last year, I was a Deputy Controller General of Nigeria Customs. My take has to do with the comment made by the last contributor in terms of the ETLS. He said that it is the wish of the countries in the ECOWAS to attain the economic union. Correct. But I want to draw his attention to the fact that under the ETLS protocol, the approval of products and enterprises is domiciled in the membership itself, the countries. And that has a huge challenge. And the challenge is that experience has shown that third countries outside ECOWAS import goods into the ECOWAS countries and allow these goods to be traded under ETLS. And this is a major challenge because the protocol is very clear on goods that are supposed to be traded under the regime and goods that are not supposed to be traded under the regime. So it is also expected that the various countries should do what they ought to do to ensure that these goods from the third countries, particularly the Asian tigers, do not come in. Thank you.
But sorry, do you have a question?
Yes, the question is, to what extent are the member countries ensuring that goods from third countries do not come in and get traded under the ETLS? Thank you.
Would you like to respond?
The comments are well taken off because it's the same thing that is applicable to all the 15 countries. We are all crying foul because of the infiltration of the importation from, especially as he said, the Asian tigers. The fact is, this is why we need, as a region, to build that common external tariff and all those things, so that when it starts working, when the goods and other things come in, we are able to check and also cross-check their transfer from one country to another country. I thank you for that point that you made. It's also for the individual countries, as you said, the point of registration and all those things, to also to be empowered and to be given all the necessary support to check all these goods that are infiltrating in. Then I'll go to the security, what the man said. You know, Ghana is currently the chair of the ECOWAS. And I remember all the things that happened in Nigeria. The chair of the ECOWAS called for a meeting for all the African leaders to meet, to brainstorm on the way forward. Because security, without safe and sound economic environment, there's no way that the African region can grow. So we are calling, like my colleague said, we are calling on all the world to support us. It is not peculiar to Nigeria. It is something that is going all over. If you have been listening to the BBC and others, for the past 2-3 days, the UK government is crying because people are going to join the ISIS and they are afraid that they will come back. So if we do not stop them in their track, how many people of the Boko Haram people are do we know whether they are not from Nigeria or they are cut across the West African zone, so that in future they will migrate to other regions? So it's something that we must put an end to them and stop them financially, militarily, and in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. A question. Should we make this room for one or two more questions? I have one in the middle here, about halfway back.
Thank you. My name is Abian. I'm a journalist. I want to direct this question to DG NAFDAC. If you use the word stringent in your comment, are you not saying you don't have stringent laws to curtail fake products? For the fact that if you do, investors will not come to Nigeria. Then the question now is, should Nigeria be a hub for fake drugs? Thank you.
No, I did not say that we are relaxed and allowing fake products. I say that we have to strike a very delicate balance between not over-regulating the industry to key investment potentials for the country, and yet be able to regulate such that fake products do not come into the country and kill the industry equally. One of the challenges that I also have with the ETLs is that many products come from other countries, some of them fake, especially fake drugs, and they come to other countries and try to cross the border into Nigeria. You know that we have a large borderline that is sometimes porous, despite the efforts of Nigerian Customs Service and NAFDAC. Sometimes we're not able to stop all of them. So this is a big challenge. What we're trying to do also is to harmonize our operations with other countries. I will be heading to Burkina Faso to hold a meeting with other West African heads of West African medicine regulatory agencies so that we can harmonize some of our registration processes so that it will be easy for any investor coming from outside to present a certain registration document. The same document should be presented in Ghana, presented in Nigeria and other countries. It will make it easier for people to come and do business instead of having to deal with different regulations in different countries that we key their interest. So, but I'm not saying that we are allowing, we're taking it easy and allowing every fake product to come in. We have to strike that balance, make sure that the fake products do not come in while promoting the good products that are coming in genuinely for genuine business.
One more. Should we take one from over here, please?
Good morning. My name is Dr. Robert Ajani. Oh,
No, please go ahead. We'll go.
I'm Dr. Robert
Short
Ajani.
queue.
I am the publishing editor of New Business Africa. We showcase investment opportunities to the global investors here in London. My question will go to the Honorable Minister in his presentation. We know now, and it's unbelievable, that we are having almost $1 trillion economy in Nigeria. We traveled the whole of last year across Africa, and we noticed another point of security issues in Nigeria, Honorable Minister, and this is my question. The level of richness and prosperity in Nigeria is so high, as well as the level of poverty, which is criminally high. I want to see how the prosperity that Nigeria is deriving now is tripping down to the ordinary people under the bridge on the way to Marina, or when I go to Bauchi. I want to see how ordinary people will derive a dividend from this prosperity. Thank you very much.
That's it.